Hi all, good afternoon. Uh, my name is Ban Chong and I'm from Phillips Securities. Welcome everyone today to today's lunchtime webinar. Thanks for taking your time and your presence is greatly appreciated. Today it is my honor and privilege to have with us Achila from Delta Electronics Thailand today as our speaker. Kun and Charlie will be sharing with us the first quarter results for Delta Electronics Thailand. A little bit of background on Kun and Charlie. Kun and Charlie is an experienced investor relations professional with a demonstrated history of leadership, strong analytical and strategic communication capabilities. In investor relations at Delta Electronics Thailand, she had extensive exposure in dynamic industry sectors over a decade, including telco, media, and entertainment property development. Her track record of success, deep financial expertise, and unique ability to influence key decision makers makes her a highly competent business partner to management and investor relations leader supporting Delta Electronics Thailand's future's growth. I also like to take this opportunity to remind everyone to type in your questions in the Q&A box, and we will try to answer them after the presentation. In addition, Delta Electronics is also quoted on the Singapore Stock Exchange as a Singapore depository receipt. I will share more of this towards the tail end of the presentation. So with this, I would like to hand over the session and Charlie.
Thank
over
you.
to you, Kun and Charlie.
Thank you. I hope investors are enjoying lunch while listening to our talk today. Thank you, Phillips, and also SGX to invite us to have this meeting with the investors from Singapore. So let me give you a little bit of the background of Delta Electronics Thailand before we jump to the financial results, which the latest first quarter result was announced on April 26 last month. So could you please move the slide, please? Okay, founded in 1988 and listed in the Stock Exchange of Thailand since 1995, Delta Electronics Thailand is a world-leading producer of power supply and electronic components. We are part of Delta Electronics Inc. in Taiwan with the same corporate mission to provide innovative, clean, and energy-efficient solutions for a better tomorrow. So I like to say that our Delta actually, we have this long-standing records of the sustainability practice, and that has been embedded as part of our mission and our brand promise. Next slide, please. The smarter, greener together is sort of the brand promise and philosophy in the way we are conducting our business. And this has served us since before 2010. It's a representation of the visionary green products, green energy sources, such as solar and wind power and technology development that we are pioneering to serve our global customers. Next slide, please. I like to skip this one. It's just our outlook. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. The current corporate milestone happened in 2016, where Delta Electronics has our major shareholders. They have launched a tender offer transaction, and based on that strategic moves, Delta Taiwan currently held 63% stake in Delta Electronics Thailand, and it unlocks the synergies within the powerful global network of the Delta Group, which spans multiple business operations and geographies. So this is all about collaboration and synergies. There's no competition between Delta Thailand and Delta Taiwan, so it might not be very meaningful from the investor perspective to try to make a very clear differentiation between Delta Thailand and Delta Taiwan. Having said that, I like to stress that for Delta Thailand, our strength refers to our experience in server power supply, telecom power system, automotive fans, and EV power. And our current geographic exposures centers in Europe, Southeast Asia, and also India. This also greatly supplements the Delta Group relative concentration in other markets. Next slide, please. So in terms of the overview of the Delta Group, as of 2023, total worldwide revenue was around $13 billion. And in terms of the Delta Thailand, our sales turnover last year was around $4.1 billion. So essentially, we account for around 1/3 of the whole contribution to the Delta Group. So Thailand, essentially, we are a growing part for the Delta Group, and not just for manufacturing, but for businesses, services, as well as R&D and the solution business as well. Next slide, please. So a little bit of the overview for Delta Thailand. Most of the products manufactured in Delta Thailand right now obtain the Board of Investment privilege. So if you look at our financial statements in terms of the effective tax rate, you will see that our tax rate has been quite limited. And our business, most of the business, I would say our business involved in power management solutions, and also the business categories are in line with the Delta Group, which is power electronics, mobility, infrastructure, and automation. Delta Thailand, we have a worldwide network of R&D centers located in Southeast in Asia and Europe. This include the main development centers in Germany and also in India, Thailand, and also Scotland, and certain part of the US in Detroit as well. So our R&D investment will continue with a specific focus in the fast-growing business in electromobility, networking and data center, industrial power, and the design for the Indian market, as well as the design to support the solution business in Southeast Asia. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the sort of the overview of the group company within the Delta Thailand. As you can see here, for Delta Thailand, we have the production cluster in Thailand. We have the headquarters and the productions for our EV powertrain, as well as data center related products in Bangpoo Industrial Estate. And we also have another production cluster in Thailand at Wilbur Industrial Estate, which is in Chachoengsao province. This is in the Eastern Economic Corridor region, supported by the government's initiatives. Outside of Thailand, we have the Southeast Asia sales office in multiple countries. We'll have their presence and footprints in Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, and also in India. And in terms of the R&D centers, like I mentioned, we have the main center in Soest and Tenecken at Germany. We have the centers in Scotland, and also we have the R&D centers in Bangalore, as well as in Detroit. And in terms of the Eastern Europe, we also have the manufacturing capacity in Slovakia as well. So our global footprint has been pretty comprehensive in terms of the product development as well as the customers' expansion. Next slide, please. This one I already explained, but let me recap again. In terms of the Bangpoo Industrial Estate, right now we have a total of, I would say, actually it's 3 plants, 3 manufacturing plants, but there are some sub plants within the larger one. So plant number 1 is currently handling the production of our EV powertrain electronics, and also for plant number 3, this is handling the production of power supply for infrastructure and networking, supporting those like Wi-Fi routers, mesh wireless systems, high-end switches, those kind of products. And Delta plant 5, the number is not quite sequential due to some legacy. So the plant number 5 is currently our headquarters. It handles a lot of production in terms of the power supply for telecom, for high-end data center, as well as industrial and medical power, industrial power solutions, and some other I would say, universal power supply production. Besides these 3 facilities, we are currently constructing 3 more facilities in Bangpoo, and it will be scheduled for completion in the year 2026. So in the year 2026, you can expect to see 3 more. And the latest milestone for our Bangpoo industrial estate is that in March, we just grand opened Plant 8 and Plant 9. Plant 9 is actually the regional R&D center, which is in line with the ambition to try to sort of grooming local engineering talents and trying to uplift our R&D capabilities to support the solution business in Southeast Asia. So regional R&D centers will be the main investment from this year and in the next few years in order to upgrade, I would say, our capabilities in this business. And plant number 8 that just grand opened will be focused on the priority to support the EV production. Currently, EV production has been capped, I think since 1 or 2 years recently, that our sales growth has been, I would say, very impressive, but production capacity has been quite a constraint. So with the opening of the Plant 8, our production limitations will be unlocked, and hopefully will be ramped up further this year and beyond. So besides the Bangpoo Industrial Estate, in terms of the well-grown production cluster, we have 2 plants, Plant 6 and Plant 7. Plant 6 is for the production of fans and thermal management products, and Plant 7 is for power supply for storage, server, and networking. This is sort of those standard power supply for standard data center and also DC power for various applications, including the applications related to AI as well. So for well-grow, we also have the expansion plan. Right now, we are constructing 2 more facilities. It will be targeted for completion in 2026 as well. So the expansion for 2026, those 2 plants will be catered to additional power supply product lines, as well as some of additional relocation from China in terms of the component business category to support the automotive customers. So it will be in that we call it well-grow 3 and 4, but it's actually the 3rd and the 4th plants in well-grow. So outside of Thailand, we have the footprints in India. This is quite a legacy platform inherited with Delta Thailand since before the year 2010. Previously, India, we had the footprint in the northern part of the country in Brodapur and Gurgaon, and the strategy has been determined that we will expand the manufacturing capacity in India because outside of the Delta Group, actually Thailand, currently we are the largest production hub to serve global customers. And India is going to play an important supporting role to Delta Thailand. So we are trying to expand the capacity in India in order to sort of offload some of the constraint in capacity from Thailand. The intent is that for those high volume standard margin profile product lines, we'll try to relocate towards India because we are aware that India has been very resourceful in terms of the competitive labor price, as well as the pool of design talent to serve the solution business in Southeast Asia. So we have the expansion plan in the southern part of India, in Tamil Nadu state. We call the city Krishnagiri. So in Krishnagiri, we already expanded 2 phases. The second phase is almost complete. I think in the first half of this year should be operational. So there are a total of 4 facilities in Krishnagiri right now. 2 facilities are aimed for domestic market in India, which is very large by itself. And the other 2 facilities will be aimed for the assembly and manufacturing for export to serve, I would say, the OEM customers, mainly from the US side. So India is also another area of focus for enhancing overall manufacturing resilience of Delta Thailand's group, as well as from the perspective of the Delta Group. This is also going to be another important growth driver in the medium term. So going forward, we don't think revenue is a concern for the Indian platform because more production relocation is currently ongoing, and we'll continue to see the transition for the India to cater for the mass manufacturing. And the last part is the Slovakia. We have the presence in Dubnica and Hardok. So for this mainly to cater to the European customers for industrial and medical power, and also the EV charging solutions, as well as some of the telecom power system. Next slide, please. In terms of the major shareholders, Taiwan has been our current major shareholders, holding 63% stake, and also in terms of the free float, currently standing at 23%. Next one. In terms of the business category, this is in line with the Delta Group strategic direction. Actually, for a majority of the business is in the ODM, original design manufacturing. Power electronics accounts for around 50% of our total revenue. It comprises the power and system, sensor and thermal management solutions, and the component business, which I just addressed that it will be increasing in 2 years after the well-growth facility construction has been complete. Besides the power electronics, mobility, this is actually referring to the EV powertrain system. When we talked about the EV product lines of overall Delta Group, Delta is actually providing all the products to support the powertrain system of the electric vehicles. They have both the onboard power electronics and off-board chargers. Let me tell you that for Thailand side, currently we are the center of EV production for the onboard power electronics to serve global OEM customers in the US and Europe and Asia outside of China. Delta Taiwan also have the manufacturing capacity in China, but that is the made in China to serve the Chinese market, which is not the area of focus for Delta Thailand. For the off-board power electronics, like those EV off-board chargers, those AC or DC charger, fast charger, those products are not manufactured in Thailand. They are Taiwan's product. Currently, Thailand, we just bundle the products from Taiwan and create the solution, try to customize and deploy the system for our Southeast Asia customers for those off-board chargers. Besides, the mobility or the EV power right now accounts for 30% of our total revenue. And the next one is the automation and infrastructure. These two are lumped together. We call it solutions business. This is actually in line with the strategic direction. Delta would like to steer away from just the pure component supplier to be sort of the solutions provider, integrated solution provider. So when we talked about the solution business, we are talking about, we try to lay the foundation for the infrastructure of the telecom power system, energy infrastructure solutions like renewable power, EV off-board chargers, and also including the automation, which we have the industrial automation and building automation for smart cities. This solution business, Thailand, currently we are the spearhead to sort of penetrate the solutions business into the Southeast Asia regional countries. And I would say that overall, solution business right now is still in the emerging stage of growth. We have pioneered this for 3 years already. The contribution of infrastructure to total revenue right now was around 10 up to 15%, and automation was around 3%. It is growing fast, but the base is still quite small comparing to the power electronics and mobility business category. Next one, please. In terms of the overall green solutions, we like to say that actually Delta Solutions address the global megatrend issues. This present multiple growth engines, and we are developing solutions based on our core competencies in power conversion and thermal management. And this led us to serve the power system for data centers, ICT and telecom infrastructure, and power electronics for EV. So we remain optimistic about all these 7 Delta Solutions solutions, but there are some solutions which we are most bullish about, and this related to Delta Smart Energy and data center infrastructure solutions in line with the electrification and digitalization trends. Next one, please. I think this is just mainly to highlight that across every countries that we are operating, we are actually aiming to achieve the sort of smart manufacturing as well as the green building concept. And also we try to utilize our energy management solutions to optimize the sort of green manufacturing footprints. And also besides this facility optimization, we also are implementing a lot of initiatives in order to increase the efficiencies and also serving our customers, because customers has increasingly requiring sort of the reduction of the carbon emission, the product carbon footprints. Those kind of requirements are emerging, and we have been trying to optimize our green manufacturing process. Next one, please. This one is just to address some of the global mega trends that Delta has been watching. Actually, overall, what we are seeing is that the Southeast Asia is the beneficiary for the global expansion to find a manufacturing hub. And what we are seeing is that the evolving trends is this is going to be the green manufacturing hub to serve the global customers. And the urbanization trends in this region has been very strong, and that is going to require sustainable city and mega infrastructure that is quite, I would say, generating low carbon emission, and also the digitalization trends and the electrification trends, especially in the mobility segment. This is also the trends that we are trying to cater our solutions to serve the growing customer. Next one, please. A little bit of the look at the product lines. We often receive the question, okay, what are we producing for our EV power business? This one represents both the onboard power electronics and the offboard side of the solution. So within the car, you can see that there are several products. Thailand, right now, we are heavy for the production of onboard charger, DC-DC converter, traction inverter, onboard, sort of those onboard converter that is inside the car. And we are serving both the US and Europe customer. Segmentation of the customer, roughly 50% on each side. And for the offboard power electronics, we have multiple selections, both the AC as well as the DC charger, even the bidirectional charger or fast charger for the public and commercial charging stations. So they have a full product lines to serve various requirements of the e-mobility business. Next slide, please. For Delta Thailand, besides the power supply for the EVs, actually we also supply the fans and thermal management products to be used in multiple subsystems within the car, not just the electric car, but also those smart car will require our fans and thermal management solutions. So this refers to the system like headlamps, condenser fans, HVAC, or smart cockpit, seat ventilation, or even the safety system like the ABS braking, battery cooling. All this will require our thermal management product to dissipate the heat. So fans and thermal management solutions is currently under our power electronic business category. It accounts for around 10% of total revenue. And this one, Delta Taiwan also has been in the fans and thermal management business for a very long time. For the Thailand side, I think some of the focus that we can address is that more than 70% up to 80% of our fans focus in Thailand will be for automotive applications, and the rest will be the fans for IT and data center. Whereas for the Taiwan, they're sort of focusing on the fans for non-automotive segments. Next slide, please. This is to certify our various international recognitions for the sustainability practice. Of course, we are very honored to be enlisted in the DJSI world for 3 consecutive years, and also various other international certifications. Actually, sort of underscores our sustainability practice. Thank you. Let me move on to sort of the financial side of the story. Next slide, please. The screen is freezing. Yes, okay. Moving on to our first quarter results, I would say that actually it has been a tough start, like other tech stock for Delta Thailand this year. Our share prices continue to be pressured by the slowdown since the release of the fourth quarter result. Actually, since 2023 end of year, we faced the softer production and deliveries alongside adding some extra cost items. So the short-term demand headwinds that we have seen late last year actually persisted towards the beginning of 2024 with the heightened market volatility. And this is likely affecting the overall technology sector to remain under pressure. So overall financial results that we announced here since April 26, Delta Thailand actually reported another quarter of softer growth momentum based on the subdued performance in our core business segments. So as you can see from this table, total sales and service revenue for the first quarter was around $1,057 million US. And that represents a slight pickup Q on Q. And in terms of the year-over-year growth, it was around 12%. And I would say that this is actually based on the rebounding growth slightly that we have seen an uptick from the EV power business. So you can see the mobility business category, sales was around $305 million US, whereas the overall power electronics still quite stagnant. As what we have seen is that the major categories, segments like data center related products still remain quite stable, actually slightly decreased comparing to the year earlier. And other applications within the power supply also have some pressure from cautious demand conditions of the many customers that we are working on with. So in terms of the infrastructure, this is picking up. It was around $169 million US in Q1. Actually grew year on year and Q on Q as well. This is in line with what we have addressed earlier, that under the infrastructure business category, we are focused on those telecom power system, data center infrastructure, and energy infrastructure. So the telecom power system is not actually the area of growth in this picture, because as we are aware that the real catalyst for the telecom power system has been related to the 5G deployment, which we have seen sort of differing degree of progress across the many markets that we are operating. And with this softened economic conditions, customer is quite cautious in terms of the upfront investment. So the network upgrade and rollout has been sort of soft activities. So the growing part in the infrastructure is actually related to the data center infrastructure and those EV off-board chargers. Speaking of the data center infrastructure, let me elaborate slightly more. For Delta Thailand, we have the power supply for storage, server, and networking. And we also have the so-called custom design power supply serving the high-end applications and high-performance computing solutions. The customers for both the standard and the high-end ones are those technology companies that we are that are very well known from the US and Europe side. These are the power supply for the ODM business. But for the infrastructure side, we have the infrastructure for data center. In this area, we don't just sell the power supply, but we also design the architecture. We're providing the construction and fit out, as well as the adjacent related components. So this is a kind of turnkey solution. We also provide the data center control and monitoring system as well. And this data center infrastructure is also the growing portion because we have seen cloud providers and hyperscalers are expanding a lot in Southeast Asia regions. And we have successfully bidded for the major projects with the regional hyperscalers. The contribution kicked in since last year and will spend another 12 to 18 months. So this is a successful reference point that we try to sort of awarded more projects from other upcoming players in Southeast Asia market as well. So this is a growing part, and the other portion is related to the EV off-board chargers. We have made significant inroads in Indonesia and Thailand and also India, and as well as Australia. So I think for India and Thailand, we are one of the market leaders for EV off-board chargers, serving both the private and public charging infrastructure. And this is the area that is beginning to take off as the mass adoption is accelerating for the EV off-board chargers. So besides the overall sales, we would say that there are potential bright spot remains in selected subsectors like the applications related to AI. And for EV, even though it sort of faces softer momentum in this 1 or 2 quarters, we still think that the medium to long-term trends, the prospect is quite promising for the e-mobility business because we think that the penetration globally is still remain very low, and overall the transition toward the low emission is the long-term trend. So we are sort of still focused on the capacity expansion to serve the roadmap of our customers. Besides the top lines, the point that I like to address on the financial results is related to the gross profit. You can see that the gross profit in Q1 was around 21.9%. Comparing to Q4, it was 23.5%. Even compared to the year earlier, it improved, but it dropped significantly Q1Q. Let me address that. There are 2 portions related to this gross profit drop. Firstly, it was caused by the realized losses from raw material cost revaluation to reflect the lower market price in line with the continued easing of the global supply chains. The magnitude of the loss was quite substantial, and it seemed to hit the business segment with high inventory, both the raw material and finished goods, and of course that refers to our EV business. It was substantially impacted by this extraordinary item. If you look at the segmental performance on the EV power gross profit, you will see a substantial reduction in the first quarter as well, based on these records. And the other portion is also related to I would say we have the inventory provision because some of the inventory overhang a few quarters back in 2023, certain portion actually hit the aging criteria. So accounting has to make some inventory provision, and that impacted gross profit as well. So that was actually the inventory provision situation improved comparing to the second half of last year, but it is still high, and it is mainly hit the EV business. So overall, that was the main driver behind the deteriorating the gross profit. And in terms of the operating profit, we would say that our overall SG&A previous guidance we try to maintain within the range of 10% plus or minus, and we have been able to achieve that in 2023. However, over the recent 2 quarters, we have some extra cost items that has popped up and also increased our overall SG&A slightly. So in the first quarter of this year, SG&A to sales has been 11%, comparing to I would say average of the whole 2023, it was around 10.4%. And right now it was around 11%. And the main item is related to the selling cost, which we have recorded royalty as well as the technical service paid. This is because certain part of our product portfolio, especially related to the sort of highly technical solutions and sort of the AI related applications. This sort of product lines has grown very fast. It is also expected to accelerate in the few quarters ahead and throughout next year. So these are the product lines that we got the support from our major shareholders. Delta Taiwan has been sort of the main development in terms of the, I would say, AI related applications currently. And in this regard, we have to support those technical service and also the product development efforts that Taiwan has engaged in the early stage of the product life cycle before it is being manufactured by Delta Thailand to serve the those big names AI customers. So overall, the selling cost potentially is going to remain at this level, but keep in mind that the applications and the potential for the sales is increasing. So we'll try to maintain the percentage, because it's not just the existing projects that we are working with the customers. We already serve the power system for the GPU for one of the AI customers, but also we have more upcoming pipelines that we are also developing from the German R&D centers to support other customers as well. So when the whole AI space has been boosted, we believe that the cost ratio will be more rationalized, and hopefully we'll try to maintain the guidance of the SG&A within the range of 10.5 up to 11% for 2023. So the bottom line is still quite, I would say, decent. we generate the bottom line at $131 million. That translate into 15% growth year over year, despite this overall subdued demand conditions across the major economies that we are having the global customers. Okay, so I think that is pretty much the overview of the corporate introduction as well as some of the financial highlights. Before I move on to some other stuff, I have seen some of the questions already coming, right? Since I joined, my device is unable to, sorry, to read to those questions. Is it possible for the moderator to read the question for me?
Yes, I will read the questions for you. You can continue with the presentation first, and then I think we will take the questions after the presentation.
Okay. Okay, yes, I have a few more slides on the finance.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, slides, please. Okay, this is actually trying to sort of address in terms of our geographic exposures. Delta Thailand, we have quite diversified customers' portfolios across key uprising industry sectors as well as in the key geography, both from the US and Europe. So overall for 2023, I'll just address some of the figures here. Our US customers accounts for around 30%. Overall Europe potentially within the range of 25%. I lumped it together. And also for the, I would say China is quite stagnant around 13% and remain at this level. Indian is growing, currently standing at 8% of our total portfolio. So you can see some of the interesting points is from German. You can see that the figures jumped from 8% 2022. It went up to 15% in 2023, and I think mainly based the EV power business. So this is a review of the geographic exposures, which sort of provide cushion of the application on our side related to the specific end markets. Next one is the segmental revenue performance. Next slide, please. Okay, so for the EV power business, we have been discussed in terms of the product lines and also in terms of the customers. Actually, the EV growth has been impressive for 3 years record. If you look at that, back in 2021, demand was very high, but we had some hiccups. We have the flooding incident to one of our EV warehouse. Sales was around $400 million US, and 2022 it increased 50% to $600 million US. Capacity constraint was a major factor in that year, along with those, China lockdown and material shortage situations. So for 2023, the problem has been subsided, and our sales record grew by double. I would say 100% to around $1.2 billion US, and material situation continued to relax a lot since the second half of last year. Actually, the capacity was still the concern last year because we haven't finished the construction of Plant 8 yet. We just recall that we just grand opened in March, right? Actually, in 2023, we have been able to optimize the existing production space to install more production lines because some of the products have been transferred to Indian manufacturing in Krishnagiri, and that free up some constraint previously. So the impressive sales record last year was actually based on optimization of production space, as well as the continued relaxation of the raw materials, and that ramped up our ability to fulfill the order for the customer, including the shipments and delivery. So in terms of the gross profit, this is quite the area that is challenging for the EVs. So you can see that gross profit fluctuate from quarter to quarter, but overall we perform at around, I would say 14 up to 15% on average. I think this is something that we have to point out. If you look at overall power electronics business category, which is the largest category of our total product portfolios, you might have seen that our average gross profits stand within the range of 25%. But EV power currently still perform at around, I would say, a much lower level. And this is just the nature of the business. As the component supplier to this highly automotive, highly competitive and mature automotive industry, you cannot expect us to earn very healthy margin profile. And the medium-term strategy is to try to ramp up this profitability, but it will still be at the lower level compared to overall power electronics. So the strategy for 2024 will be, of course, we already complete the new plant construction and it is becoming operational. So with more capacity addition, we are hopeful to sort of optimize our our cost structure and increasing the operating leverage in order to generate better profitability, and even the new projects and new product launch in the pipelines for our customers will also have a sort of healthier margin profile comparing to the previous ones. So I think the material situations also play a role here. With continued relaxation, it could also support our cost structure. So overall, for EVs, this is going to be the highest growth driver in terms of top line for 2024. In our view, even though the growth momentum might be softer than last year, of course, you might not be able to expect the business to double every year. So we still project for the double-digit growth pace, and it is still a very important growth driver for us this year. Next portion is a fans and thermal management solution. This one, like I mentioned, it was around 10% of our total revenue. It was quite stagnant in recent quarters and still remains so because I think the slowdown in the overall automotive industry recently due to intensifying competitions and other geopolitical factors has also pressured the overall applications related to the automotives. So the fans has been a stable performance. And the fans for the rest of the other applications is also having some demand conditions that are unstable. We still seeing some inventory correction in those segments as well. And the next one is for India. Actually, for India, this is just trying to elaborate on our solution business. It's not one of the business category for the Indian business per se, but we try to sort of address to make investor understand the picture. Like we said that overall solution business comprise the infrastructure and automation. That was from the product line perspective. For the country perspective, it is being led by Indian platform. So last year sales grew by more than 40%, up to 357 million US dollar. So sales growth was impressive. Ongoing production transfer are continuing on. And the margin improvement, I think India still has a lot to catch up with the manufacturing side within the Delta Group, which serve as the benchmark for operating efficiencies. So overall supply chain is still a concern for the Indian because it doesn't seem to be fully developed to cater for the mass manufacturing. They still have some cost overrun or the quality issues and some of the alternative sourcing limitation. So overall, we'll try to monitor the situation of the supply chain development for our Indian business. But the potential for this area is very high, and it is going to be the growth driver in the medium to the longer term for Delta Thailand as well. Last slide for me, the profitability slides, please. This one, I already touched on some points in terms of the overall SG&A, potentially try to maintain within the range of 10.5 to 11%. Based on growing top lines and trying to optimize the cost in terms of the administrative and R&D. But in terms of the selling cost, we'll see when more pipelines pops up, which is sort of related to those development efforts from our R&D centers from the German side. And I think in terms of the other financial ratio already speaks for itself. We are quite one of the companies with the strong fundamentals and track records of stable performance and profitability for the shareholders. So I think we are in a good position to capitalize on the growth in mega trends and also to withstand the disturbance in overall softening of the economic situations across the many markets in the world. Okay, let me jump to the Q&A, please.
Okay, thank you, Kun and Charlie. So there are basically 3 questions as of now. So let me ask the first question first. The US decision to raise tariff rates for EVs imported from China. So with this so-called decision, would this impact Delta?
Thank you for the question. I think overall, for the intensifying competitive situation on the EV space, it is being seen as 2 sides of the story. On the one end, it's being seen as a threat to some of our global OEM customers, and we think that it is quite comprehensible that the U.S. government might potentially have some kind of measures like this to protect the industry in the country. So I think on our side, we don't have much exposure directly to the Chinese EV players because our customer are the US and Europe, and I would say the Chinese EV players in China is being handled from the Taiwan side. So I think based on this sort of announcement, hopefully it will sort of positively impact some of the key clients on the US side, and there could be some spillover benefits as a component supplier just like us.
I see. Okay. Okay. For the next question, right? What is Delta's plan for the production capacity in connection with the EV business?
Okay. Take a look back at the segmental performance last year. We have generated overall sales record for our EV power business around $1.2 billion. And I told you that it was based on the existing production lines in Plant 1 as well as Plant 5, our headquarters, without the emerging of the new plant, Plant 8. So I think in terms of the capacity expansion, what we are planning is that regardless of the subdued demand conditions, we are still seeing the medium to the longer term transition for the overall EV industries. And our major customers all have these transformation targets to reach the green energy. And especially on the European side, the push has been hard because they have these government penalties for breach of CO2 carbon emission. So overall, the industry is undergoing the transition. And on our side, we are monitoring the ups and downs in the demand conditions, but maintain the long-term prospect in our capacity planning to serve the awarded projects that we are working with the customer. So for 2024, initially we have planned for a capacity expansion in the moderate double-digit growth, and the subdued demand condition in the first half of this year has prompted us to be more conservative. So overall, we could still expect to see, I would say, in terms of the capacity planning, to ramp up from last year level at least 30 up to 40%. But in terms of the medium to the longer term planning, Plan 8, actually, if fully utilized, will be able to doubling the whole production capacity as of last year. So let me just do the math here. In Q4, you can see that our sales, roughly in Q4, our sales of EV power was around $300 million, and utilization at that quarter was around 70% because of the softened demand. So that implied I would say the total capacity to be around at least 400 up to $450 million sales capacity per quarter. So the full year basis, it was actually could be around 1.5 up to 1.6 billion US dollar sales capacity previously. With the new addition of Plan 8, you can expect this number to double if fully utilized. But of course, the ramp up will not be so soon. Actually, this is for medium to the longer term planning, at least 3 to 5 years and beyond.
See. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the very elaborate sharing. There's one more question. So this question actually is asking, which of Delta's businesses could grow along with the stronger demand in AI technology?
Okay, thank you. I think so far in 2024, it has always been about the rise of NVIDIA and generative AI. I think for Delta, actually Delta has been benefited from the AI trends, not just generative AI, for several years already. We are the major supplier, I think one of the leading supplier for the server power supply for the vast majority of server, including AI server and non-AI server. So we are quite in a good position to tap on this emerging technology, and it will be recorded, I would say, across different business units, because when we talked about the potential for the AI, yes, there could be the solutions related to the power management, but also the cooling solutions could be part of the story as well. So we are currently recognizing those applications as part of our power electronics business categories, and specifically the DC power that we are serving the GPU for one of the AI customers. But like I said, we have I would say healthy pipelines that we are working with many customers right now. It depends on the timeline of deployment on the customer side, which we are foreseeing that it will ramp up in the second half of this year and throughout next year. This will be flowing into the power electronics. And also from the data center infrastructure solution side, some of the liquid cooling solutions will be recorded in that area. This is also have the potential to serve the AI applications.
Okay. I don't see any other questions. Any other questions from the floor? Okay, so let me if there's no more questions, let me conclude. So to say a big thank you to Kun and Shelley for her sharing, a very interesting sharing. I think for myself, this is probably the first time hearing of this company, and thank you again, Kun and Shelley, for the details. It's very, very interesting, and I hope that we can invite you back again to share in our future lunchtime webinars.
Sure, thank you very much. And actually, I also have a few takeaways that I like to also highlight to the investor.
Yes.
If you could give me 1 or 2 minutes. In addition to actually driving the sales growth of our core products and growing our solutions in Southeast Asia, actually the strategic priorities that I would also like to take this few minutes to tell the investor is firstly the capacity expansion across the new construction in Thailand at Bangpoo and Velcro cluster, as well as India Krishnagiri, which is ramping up the utilization further based on the ongoing production transfer. Secondly, is related so-called smart manufacturing. Besides the new capacity, actually the existing production line, we also try to implement the automation solution in order to improve the productivity and cost efficiencies. So the current automation rate is still within the range of 40 up to 50%, and we try to ramp up further through our smart manufacturing implementation. And thirdly, is also related to so-called supply chain localization, because we could not afford any further lockdown, and previous supply chain disruption actually have the impact to the business. So actually, we are ramping up our efforts to engage overseas partner to invest in Thailand and encouraging Thai supplier to meet the global technology compliance and standards in order to be able to increase our local sourcing efforts. This is going to enhance the flexibility in our production and also decrease the burden of the longer lead time from overseas shipment. And finally, regarding the R&D capabilities, we have finished the regional R&D centers in Thailand. We are spending a lot of initiatives to groom local engineering talents to serve the automotive customers as well as other core product segments. This is the area that we take it seriously in order to sort of pave way for sustainability growth, as well as sort of contributing to the overall uplift of Thailand's electronic and automotive sectors.
That's a good initiative. So I do hope that I think for the rest of us, I think with all these new developments, hopefully we can see also better profitability for the company, and also hopefully the share price also.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think for the rest of the audience, I did mention at the very beginning that if firstly we have the SDR for Delta Electronics quoted on the Stock Exchange of Singapore. So if you are interested in adding Delta Electronics Thailand to your portfolio, you can actually head over to the POEM's website and look for the ticker symbol TD, Thailand, Denmark, England, Denmark. And this will be the ticker for the Delta Electronics SDR on the SGX board. Okay. Alternatively, you can also visit the SDR website, www.singaporedr.com, all in one word. Let me say that again, www.singaporedr as one word.com to explore the rest of the other Thai SDRs. So with this, I would like to conclude this session. So thank you again to our speaker, Kun and Charlie, and then also to everyone here for taking time to attend this lunchtime webinar. I think going forward, we will be inviting other Thai SDR companies to come on board to share their company profile so as to create more awareness for investors who's looking to invest in Thailand. So with this, I would like to close. Thank you again, everyone, and see you at our next lunchtime webinar session. Thank you again, and have a good week ahead.
Thank you. สวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you.